All right. Well, I'm going to pass this over to our MC, our first MC of the day, and that is our district manager, soon to be of Toronto, Carl Pavendero. I'm going to let you introduce our next speaker.
All right. So, introducing Jonathan, the leader of the London organization, also known as the Mambas, and he's going to show you all how to really optimize your demo for the best results. Now, he himself has sold over $200,000 personally in Cutco, has earned multiple silver cups, has achieved a $33,000 push in 2 weeks, multiple scholarship races, and multiple races for charities. But most importantly, Jonathan knows how to do a kick butt demo. Fun fact about him too is that he was the first person to really apply the virtual demo when COVID kind of hit and helped to lead Vector Canada into the age that we are now. And because of that, I don't think there'd be a better person to show you the ins and outs of the demo to help you fine tune it. So let's bring up to the stage with some snaps, the leader of the Mambas, Jonathan St. Pierre.
Thank you, Carl. Appreciate it. How you guys doing today? Good. Well, Team Canada, I am honored and humbled to be able to give this message today on the virtual stage, and really excited. I worked really hard to prepare this message for all of you. I knew it was going to be a big stage, and I know that there's a lot of you on Zoom here today that have already sold a ton of Cutco. There's some of you that just got started. Some of you have been on the team for a few months, but I'm really going to give you the goods. And I've jam-packed a lot of information in a short message. So my ask is that you are lightning quick with your pen and paper. Write down as much as you can, soak up all the information. And I'd be more than happy to, if you have any additional questions beyond the message today, to go ahead and answer that post-conference. So I want to tell you guys and share with all of you, really the purpose of my message is to help you fine tune your demo. How can you take your Cutco demo to the next level? And have any of you ever watched the movie Ford versus Ferrari? Just by show of hands, Ford versus Ferrari. I'm scrolling through a few of you, Christine, Mitch Tinch, or as Felipe says, the big man or something. Steven, Jared, awesome. Okay, so there's a few of you that have watched this movie. In the movie, there's a scene and it talks about the perfect lap. Essentially, they talk about how this race car can get around the course perfectly. And so I'm going to play a quick video for you guys here. I have this prepped. I'm going to pop it up. And here it is.
You can't just push the car hard.
You guys hear okay? The mama's kicked me out of my office, so I'm somewhere else right now.
The whole way, right?
That's right. You have to be kind to the car. You feel the poor thing groaning underneath you. If you're going to push a piece of machinery to the limit and expect it to hold together, you have to have some sense of where that limit is. Look out there. Out there is the perfect lap. No mistakes. Every gear change, every corner. Perfect. You see it?
I think so.
Most people can't. Most people don't even know it's out there, but it is. It's there.
Now, let me start by saying, is your demo ever going to be perfect? Yes or no, Team Canada? No, there's always going to be room to improve and things that you can do to get better and better. But I'm here to share with all of you today. My purpose is to equip you with the tools for you to strive towards your perfect lap and your perfect demo. Because when you guys are investing an hour, 40 minutes, an hour and 15, an hour and a half with your customers, I'd love for you guys to be able to make that the greatest hour, the greatest demo, the greatest presentation every single time because of the skill set that you have. And so, you know, as I mentioned, some of you just started. Some of you I see on Zoom here, Alana, you guys have been selling Cutco for years. And to that, I'll say, I don't really care how long you've been selling Cutco. You have room to improve. There's room to grow. There's things you can do to get better and better. And so as I go through the message and give you guys the tips that I have today, I wanted to share a quick story. I once attended a conference called Net 19. So it was a national event training. And on that day, a gentleman by the name of Brandon Brown gave a message. And all I needed to know to fine tune, like to listen into that message, the MC said, Mr. Brandon Brown in last year sold $1 million worth of Cutco by himself. I was like, what? $1 million by himself? I was like, I'm listening. And so Brandon had shared, you know, one of the things that I remember him saying and sharing vividly at this conference was, if your average order size isn't 1,000 CPO, you haven't arrived. So if your average order size isn't 1,000 CPO, you haven't arrived. There's things you can do to get better. There's things you can do to improve. And I'm really excited to help you guys get one step closer to that. And I was really, in that moment when he shared that, I was really humbled. I thought I was good at selling Cutco. I think my average order size at the time was like 400 or 500 CPO. And but when I heard that, I was really humbled, but also really excited, because I was like, man, there's so much that I can do to get a little bit better and a little bit better. And it set me on a path of professional and personal growth to really try to perfect my lap. And that's what I did. For a couple of years, I pushed my boundaries through push weeks and biggest sales weeks, biggest campaigns, biggest years. And so my goal is to help you guys do that. So I have five steps for all of you today to fine tune your demo. Here are the 5 steps. Oh, number 1, your technology tips and tricks. Okay, so jot this down. Just do like a blank. I've got some technology tips and tricks for all of you. Okay. The first thing that you want to keep in mind, whether you're doing, this is applicable to both the in-person presentation and then also the appointment that you're doing virtually, is think about your lighting. Okay. So if you're doing an appointment on Zoom, you have to think about your lighting. Where's the light coming from? Okay. So you should always be in a position where the light is coming and pointing towards you so that your camera can pick up on it and you're in a better situation to do and execute the presentation. All right. If you're doing the presentation in home, all right, what you want to do is you just want to make sure that you're sitting at the customer's kitchen table to do the appointment there. Think about your sound. Who was it that I just saw? I think Christine. I'm not sure if that's a mic. Maybe not. Yeah, I can see it there. All right. So Christine, if you can chat, perfect. Look at that. I don't know if you guys can see Christine Barry's screen, but for your presentations, think about what does your audio sound like? And if you don't know what it sounds like, if you've never done this before, record yourself doing a demo. Has anyone done that? You record yourself doing a demo and you watch back. All right. Sometimes you'll notice things, you'll hear things, and it's going to allow you to get one step closer to that perfect lap. So think about your audio. What is your sound? What does it look like? What does that sound like? Your Wi-Fi, I mean, you've got to have a strong Wi-Fi connection, right? You've got to be able to have good internet if you're doing appointments. And then also if you're doing appointments in person, you want to make sure that you can connect to the Wi-Fi. Your background, all right? Do you have a presentable background? All right. What it really boils down to, I'm going to talk about this quite a bit today, is if you want to get paid like a professional, you have to treat it like a profession. So I have a question for you. When are you just going to make the switch to treat this like your business? Because the really cool thing here at Vector is that you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. But when you treat your Cutco operations like a business, and you've got different streams of revenue through your demos, your service calls, some of you are going to have an opportunity to work towards being a part of our show team. Start treating it like a business and you're going to get paid like a professional. Okay. When you're doing your appointments, the camera should be eye level. Again, I got kicked out of my office today, so I'm not sure it's that eye level, but if you need to think about you can make a little note, like a shoebox underneath your computer. You can buy like a riser on Amazon for quite cheap. So it holds your computer a little bit higher. Not only is it good for like your demos and when you're looking at your customers on the computer, but it's better for your back. When you're typing and your hands are up here, it'll straighten your back up. All right. When you're doing your appointments from home. So think about all the things, your attention to detail, the little things make a big difference. All right. So having a laptop riser, having a light, you don't need the most expensive, nicest equipment, but have something all right, to make sure that you guys have a good setup when you're doing your appointments. All right, you shouldn't be distracted throughout your appointments, right? There shouldn't be things going in the back, right? You should be in a good environment to really execute and make some money. Okay, so that's step number one to fine tuning your demo is think about your technology. Think of it like you really want to level that up. Okay. Step number two, jot this down. And this one's big. I'm going to spend some time on this is notes to take during your demo. Go and write down notes to take during your demo. Demo, realtor meeting, trade show, wherever you're at, you should be taking these notes on clients. Okay. Let me share a quick story. I was shadowing a trade show and there was a rep there. Her name was Queenie Lee. She's a CSP in the Canrock division. And some customer came up to her at the Cutco booth and just shared, they recognized each other. And within the matter of seconds, Queenie grabbed her phone, looked at some notes and had already known who the customer was, when was the last time that customer purchased Cutco from her, where they lived, what their dog's name was, the neighbor, right? The neighborhood they lived in, had all this information on a customer. And I was like, whoa, that was really impressive. All right. And so you want to make sure that you're taking notes during your demos, your presentations. All right. And I do believe that this is what separates the good from the great is the attention to detail. All right. So you should always be taking notes. All right. So jot this down. Have a client notebook. Have a client notebook. So when you start your presentation, before the demo even starts, whether it's in person, on Zoom, or it's a service call, whatever, before the appointment even starts, I always used to have this notebook. And on the notebook, I would have the customer's name, the customer's phone number, the customer's email, the address, and then I would add more notes as I did the demo. So if Mrs. Jones shared with me on the demo, hey, my nephew is getting married in August, I would write that down. I would write down nephew is getting married in August, and I would get curious and I would say, hey, Miss Jones, when is what's your nephew's name? Great. And who are they getting married to? Great. And I'm writing all of this information down. All right. I'm writing all of it down. And then when I go to follow up, if there is an opportunity for me to follow up, I have all this information that I could use. I could say, hey, Miss Jones, wanted to follow up. How you doing? How's your Cutco doing? Got all your fingers? Great. Well, hey, I just wanted to check in. I just wanted to let you know we have an end of summer sale. And I know when we met back in February this year, you mentioned that your nephew, Jeremy, is getting married in a couple weeks. Awesome. Well, I wanted to let you know, I know you mentioned on the demo that you were considering getting them some Cutco. We have this special going on right now. I think it'd be a great fit for them. Do you mind if I tell you a little bit more about it? But if I don't take any of these notes, is there any chance in heck, are you going to make that sale? Are you going to be sounding good with the follow-up? No. So you want to be taking notes. All right. Let me see your typing fingers. And I haven't done that in a while. Typing fingers. Come on. Emily, Huda, Sierra. Come on. We're siblings. You should give me the typing fingers. Share in the chat. Where else could you be taking notes? Where else could you be taking notes? Okay. I just talked about on the demo. Where else could you be taking notes when you're doing and working with clients? Yeah. On the phone. Absolutely. So this is what that sounds like. You're on the phone with Mr. and Mrs. Jones. They go, call me back later. I'm on vacation. Anyone happen to anyone here? Miss Jones, you called her on vacation for like the 6th time this year. You're like, Miss Jones, when are you not on vacation? I just got to get this demo done. They call you, they're on vacation. Great, Miss Jones, where are you heading off to? Mexico. Awesome. Great. Whereabouts? Great. Cabo. Great. Yeah. Awesome. Great. And where are you going to be back? And I'm writing that down. Miss Jones, Mexico, going to be back August 29th. I call August 30th. Miss Jones, I'm looking at my notes. How was your vacation in Cabo? Tell me more. Awesome. And then I can dive into rescheduling the demo and booking the demo. But if I'm not taking notes, again, there's no way you're going to remember that. Not a chance. Not even a little bit. So you have to be taking notes on all of your customers and clients. All right. So on the phone, demos. All right. Where else could you be taking notes? In the chat box here. Where else could you be taking notes? Starts with a Q, qualifying your leads, right? So when you're getting recommendations, you're taking notes on not just the customer, but you're also taking notes on the customers and people that they refer you to, right? You have to know more about the people you're getting recommended to. It's going to make that phone call when you're calling the referrals a lot easier. So Mr. and Mrs. Jones, tell me a little bit more about these people here. Okay, you got Jack, you got Christine, you got Mitch. Awesome. Okay, so where's Jack from? Where's Jack living? All right, in London, great. What area? Great. Okay, this area, northwest of the city, awesome. And then does Jack have a spouse? What's Jack's spouse's, right? Sherry, great. And I'm writing that down and I'm taking all of these notes. All right, even if you feel like it's not worth writing it down, write it down. That's how you're going to be able to take it to the next level. Okay, so we talked about the phone, the recos, the close to follow up with big orders. Jot this down, business gifts. Business gifts. Every time when we have reps out of our London office, they call me, they go, oh, I just did a demo, they're a business owner. All right, did you offer the business gifts? Yes. What did they say? You have to take notes because especially with those business orders, typically there's a little bit more back and forth that happens. So here's some questions. This is some questions you can ask. I'm sure Maddie today during her message will cover some of those, but quickly, if you wanted to jot this down, asking your customers, what gifts do they give already? So if they have a business or they have gifts that they're giving, what gifts do you guys give already? And you're writing that down under your client notepad, right? If you have a client notebook, you're writing that down. They own this business. This is what the company does. This is what the company name is, right? Write down what gifts did they give already so that you could follow up with them and let them know about how Cutco is a way better option. All right. So you're taking all these notes. And then the other reason you want to write down notes during your demo is for thank you cards. So when you follow up and you send your customers a thank you card to say thank you for taking the time to meet with me that day, you can personalize the thank you card. If something funny happened on the demo, write it down. If they talked a lot, if all your customers talked about was their son that plays basketball and is going to college, right? Put that down on the thank you card, right? So make sure that you're taking really good notes. And again, I really believe that this is one of the aspects that separates good from the great. If you treat it like a profession, you're going to get paid like a professional. All right. Third tip, let me pull this back up here. Third tip is writing out prices. All right. Writing out prices. Confused customers never buy. So in order to fine tune your demo, you got to be confident and comfortable when you're writing out prices. When your manager, has anyone, just by a show of hand, has anyone's manager told them that they should memorize their close? No? Some of you, yeah. So when your manager says memorize your close, it's because you're going to sell more. You're going to sell way more Cutco. Every demo, every time. But part of memorizing your close also means memorizing how to write down prices. Because when you can do it with confidence, you can circle things, show them what they're getting for free, show them their investment options. They're going to feel more comfortable making a decision on the spot today to make a decision to purchase something. All right. And so just making sure you're comfortable and confident with writing out prices. And if you're not, hey, get a coaching session with your manager and have your manager give you different examples of different things that you need to know how to write out. If your customers say to you, I want X piece, Y piece, W4, like the table knives, this and that, you need to be able to go in the matter of 2 to 5 minutes. Hey, okay, great. This is what you want. This is the regular price. This is how much it would cost you today. This is how much it is over 5 months. This is what you're getting for free. This is how much you're saving. That's how you can take your demo to the next level. All right. And I'm not sure if we had time. Angie, did you want me? I could quickly give an example or I could keep moving forward.
You can give a quick example. Go ahead, give a quick.
So the homemaker set, everyone, our most popular set. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that they see a visual, whether you use the whiteboard like I'm about to do. You could do it in the chat box. You can screen share a Word doc, but you want to be able to go, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, the homemaker is now $5,000. It's not even as much as the whooshed off price of $2,930. The homemaker plus 8, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, it's only $1,715. And if you wanted to split that up over 5 months, that would only be $346 over the 5 months, no interest. You only have to put down 20% today, Miss Jones. I'll ship it. I'll ship everything to you. Try it out completely risk-free for only $346 over those 5 months. And if you were to get it today with the buy now bonus, I could hook you up with those shears, which are 156, and the entertainer pack, which is 296. All right, completely free today, just for making the decision. So, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I wouldn't be doing my job today. You could go above and beyond and even cross out the whoosh top prices. All right, you could circle the 5-month investment option, circle that, show them what they're getting for free. All right, and make sure you're, you know, reviewing and showing them what they get. And if it's not the homemaker, then I do the exact same thing with the galley. And if it's not the galley, exact same with the essentials and any piece packages that they want. Okay, so get good at that. Memorize it, practice it. All right, and play around with that. But if you guys want to take a quick picture or screenshot, you can go ahead and do that quickly. Okay, so for writing out prices, just write down every set, every package, every piece. You will, if you do enough demos, you're going to bump into someone that wants a set of Cutco, they want some cookware, and they want some flatware. And they might want some gardening tools and some other things. You have to be ready and comfortable in presenting that package to your customers. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, you want this, 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 and this. This is the price, the regular price. This is how much it would be today. This is how much it would be over the 5 months. Okay, you got to be ready, comfortable, and confident with doing that. And again, it's part of memorizing your clothes is how to write out prices. Think of it this way. You would never, ever, ever walk into a store and buy a shirt if you didn't know how much it costed, right? You'd look at the price tag first and then you would make a decision. So make sure you guys know how to write out prices. Okay, here are some questions you can ask on your demo to help fine tune it, okay? This is a closing question, all right? And if someone wants to type it in the chat, I'll say it, you can type it in the chat. So a closing question you can ask. What is it about the X that you need to think about? Okay, I know many of you, one of the things that I struggled with for months was all my customers really wanted Cutco. They're like, they want it, but they go, oh, I need to think about it. I'm like, Miss Jones, you see what, right? And so I went to a conference and it just like snapped for me. The one person that was giving the message was like, all you have to ask them is what do they need to think about? Okay. So Mr. and Mrs. Jones, what is it that you need to think about? Because that question is typically going to help you get to the actual objection. Because I need to think about it really an objection? It's a smokescreen. It's like a nicer way of saying no. The actual objection is typically more times than not the price. So then you can kind of get to the nitty and gritty. What is it that you need to think about? The price, okay, well, this is the homemaker set, all right? This is the value. We have our trade-in special or our silver cup special. And if not, you can drop down, but at least you know now, and you and your customers, you're on the same page. Okay, so Mr. and Mrs. Jones, what is it that you need to think about? All right, and I promise you, it might be a little nerve-wracking the first time you ask that question, but your customers are really gonna appreciate that you're just upfront and straight to the point, okay? This is a rapport question. I love this question. And I wish I had this question when I first started selling Cutco. I probably started using this my 3rd year, but Mr. and Mrs. Jones, what advice would you give to someone in my position right now? This is a rapport question. So at the beginning of your demo, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, what advice would you give to someone in my position right now? People, you know, Mac customers, they love to support and help and cheer people on. All right, if someone asked me that question, I would, you know, I'm fired up for them because it shows that they're coachable, willing to learn, wanting to work hard, wanting to succeed in life. It's a great question in life. Okay, what advice would you give to someone in my position right now? Another great rapport question. This one has to be genuine, all right? But through your demos, and a lot of you are going to be able to, through rapport, Isaac, right at the beginning, when you're getting to know the customer. This next question is another question you can ask as you're building rapport with your customer. It has to be genuine, but through your demos, you guys are going to meet a lot of amazing people from all walks of life: doctors, lawyers, engineers, entrepreneurs, business professionals, people in finance. And one of the questions, if I admired the person and I was genuine about it, I would always ask, what do you feel has led you to the success that you have today? What do you feel has led you to the success that you have today? And it could be different things, right? Maybe you admire your customer's family life. Like you walk into their house, they've got a beautiful home, kitchen, the kids are super respectful, really nice. You're like, man, you know, what do you feel has led you to the family success that you have? Maybe you know they're well off, and that's one of your goals is you want to be able to be financially independent. You want financial freedom. You ask, hey, what do you feel has led you to your success that you have today? And people will tell you things. It's a great way to build rapport, create a connection with your customer, and build trust right at the beginning of the demo. It's a great way to get your customers to like you. And Team Canada, if Mr. and Mrs. Jones like you, they're going to buy something. They're going to recommend you to a lot of people. Your number one goal is to get Mr. and Mrs. Jones to like you. Even love. I mean, we can do that too. Okay. Next question. This one's for recommendations. Anyone ever have Mr. and Mrs. Jones go, oh, I just don't do that? This is something Mom Boss taught me, Shayla Way, was you just go, oh, was I really that bad? And you're joking with them, but you're serious for like 2.5 seconds. Oh, was I really that bad? Oh, because I just do the exact same Cutco presentation, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. I don't do anything different. So if you like the demo today, I'm sure your family and friends are going to love it too. So what do you say we start with like 5? I can come back for 5 more later. So you got to have the right rapport with them, but you just kind of crack that joke. Was I really that bad? And typically Mr. and Mrs. Jones will go, no, right? And they go from there. Okay, next one here. This is also a question you can ask for recommendations. You want to get more referrals. Mrs. Jones, if you give me X more referrals, I will give you blank. If you give me X more referrals, I will give you blank. I remember I had ran out of people to call once. No one to call. I needed to build up my names list. Some of you might be able to relate. And I was just giving Cutco like it was candy. I'm not recommending, you don't have to do that, but I used to incentivize my customers to get more leads because the second or third time I ran out of people call, I realized that was the number one most important thing was I needed people to call. So I never wanted to be in that situation again. So I bought peelers for my office. I won Cutco at conferences, and I always used it to incentivize my customers to give me more referrals. And I want you guys to put a little asterisk beside that one. And here's why. Some of your customers are going to give you 0 recommendations. Some of them are not going to give you any. Some of them are going to give you a ton. Some of them are going to give you like an average amount, 5, maybe 10, 15. Okay. But the ones that are willing to give you recommendations, do not stop at 10, do not stop at 20, do not stop at 40, get as many as you possibly can get. Okay. Sometimes when we're newer to the business and we get 10 recommendations, we're like, oh my God, that's so many recommendations. All right. If they're willing to give you 10, go for another 10. If they give you 20, get another 20. If they give you 40, get another 40. And one of the ways you can do that is you can incentivize them to give you more referrals. So say, example, you get 10 recommendations on your appointment. Hey, Miss Jones, if you give me 10 more, if you double the amount, all right, I'm going to give you a Cutco vegetable peeler completely free. I'm going to buy it for you just as a thank you for your help. All right. If you're doing a demo for Mr. or Mrs. Jones, all right, what you do is you slide them 2 reco sheets and you go, whoever gives me the most is getting a free peeler, and you have them compete against each other to see who can give you the most amount of recommendations. You make it fun. All right, you make it fun. All right, so again, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, if you give me X, I'll give you blank. Give them some Cutco. That's why you got to go to all your team meetings. You got to go to all your team meetings, go to all your phone jams, go to all the conferences, win as much Cutco, because you can just use it as fuel for your business to generate more leads. Okay. All right. Next point, number 5 is dropping down effectively. This is the last point I have for you today. Dropping down effectively. 2 main tips when it comes to dropping down. 2 main tips. Jot this down is slow down. and listen. Those are my 2 tips. Slow down and listen to your customers. I remember being really new and I just got so nervous sometimes when I got to the close that I kind of jambled. But what really helped me is that I just slowed down a little bit. I actually listened to what my customers were saying, and I was able to drop down and show them some smaller sets, different options in a more comfortable, confident way. All right. This is one thing I'd recommend you plug into your demo is if they say no to the homemaker set, you handle their knee-jerk reaction, that initial objection. If you just say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, do you mind if I show you some smaller sets and different options? So what you're doing is you're asking for permission to continue showing them things. All right, it's not pushy, right? 9 times out of 10, they're gonna go, sure, right? So Mr. or Mrs. Jones, do you mind if I show you some smaller sets and different options? And this is almost my favorite line whenever closing and I'm dropping down. I always say, and I'll repeat it multiple times in the demo, is I'll say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I want to work hard to earn your business. So if you were to get it today, here's what I can do for you. Boom, buy now bonus, give you the shares for free. Okay, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, I want to work hard to earn your business. So if you were to get it today, here's what I can do for you. Whether you're selling the homemaker, 3 pieces, 2 pieces, 1 piece, all right. It's a great way to say, hey, I'm working really hard towards my goals. I'm willing to do this if you were to get it today. It increases urgency. It's going to help you close on more appointments most of the time. And again, listen to what your customers are saying. I know I gave you guys a bunch of one-liners and things that you can say in your demo. I'll have a document that I'll send that we can have sent to your managers so that if you want to print it off and add some one-liners in your training manual, you can do that. Okay. So again, dropping down effectively, what else does that entail? Never skip an option, show everything, every demo, every time, you never know. Everything, every time, every demo, you never know. That includes your gifts and accessories, the smaller sets, the piece packages, and reminder that when you're dropping down, you just have to take a second, pause, and listen to what your customers are saying to you. Because if they tell you that it's too expensive, right, and you just kind of shuffle through and skip through things, right, you always have to be in a position where you're listening to what they're actually saying to you. It's going to show your customers that you care and that you're not just there to make a quick sale. You're there to serve them. You're there to serve them in the best way possible. But you can only serve your customers at the highest level if you're listening to what they're saying to you. All right. Now, to wrap up my message today, my hopes again is that you're able to use these simple tips and tricks, 5 things to go ahead and fine tune your demo to work towards having your perfect lap. You know, it doesn't matter how long you've been selling Cutco, whether that be decades, months, a couple of weeks. All right. I want to share this as we wrap up today. Always being critiqued. You're always being critiqued on your next performance. And it's not about what you've done. There's always room to grow. So remind yourselves that you haven't arrived. You're not that good yet. Give yourself a little bit of grace, but you're not that good yet. Fine tune that demo and have a great rest of your Conference of Champions conference today. Thank you, everyone. Excited for all of you.